Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. If you're going to move forward, if you're going to build a life of meaning, the first step is to get real with yourself. Stop and think, how many times have you acted without a single thought? How many times have you walked right into the same mistake, expecting a different result? That's what we're talking about here, letting go of the habit of ignoring the obvious. Recognizing when you're wasting time might sound simple, but it's one of the most important and challenging steps toward personal growth. It's easy to get swept up in the busyness of life, where days blend together and we're constantly reacting to what's happening around us, rather than consciously choosing how to spend our time. But here's the truth: most people go through life unaware of the patterns they're trapped in. They spend their energy on things that add little value, leaving them wondering why they feel stuck or why their goals always seem out of reach. Wasting time isn't always obvious. It's not just about scrolling on your phone for hours or binge watching another season of a show you're only halfway interested in. Wasting time can also look like getting caught up in other people's drama, overthinking every decision to the point of paralysis, or saying yes to things that don't serve you. It's about the subtle habits that drain your energy, even if you don't realize it. For instance, maybe you constantly replay past mistakes in your mind, or you spend hours in conversations that don't lead anywhere. Every time you do these things, you're giving away precious moments that could be used to build the life you actually want. The thing about time-wasting habits is that they're comfortable, and comfort is hard to let go of. We often cling to what feels familiar, even if it's not beneficial, because it doesn't require change, growth. On the other hand, demands that you step outside of your comfort zone, that you face the discomfort of leaving behind what's easy in favor of what's right for your future. If you want to get serious about achieving your goals, you have to get just as serious about analyzing how you spend your time and cutting off anything that isn't serving you. Ask yourself, what do I actually want? And more importantly, are my actions supporting this goal? When you start paying attention, you might be surprised to find that a lot of what you're doing each day has nothing to do with where you want to go. You might say you want to build a successful career, but if you spend your time hanging out with people who don't inspire you, or worse, drain you, you're not on the path to success, you're just busy. And being busy is not the same as being productive. This is where real self-awareness comes into play. It's about looking at your life with a critical eye and seeing where you're wasting time. One powerful way to identify these patterns is to track your time. Spend a week writing down how you're spending every hour of the day. It may seem tedious, but you'll be shocked at what you find. Maybe you realize you're spending more time on distractions than on your actual goals, or you find that you're dedicating hours to tasks that could be completed in minutes with a bit of focus. Often people don't want to confront this because it means admitting that a lot of their actions are not serving them. But this is necessary if you want to break free from time-wasting habits. Once you see where your time is going, the next step is to set boundaries. Boundaries are the armor that protects your time from being stolen by distractions, by other people's agendas, or by your own bad habits. If you find yourself spending too much time on social media, set a limit on your usage. If you tend to say yes to every request that comes your way, practice saying no more often. Boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being available to everyone at all times. But they're essential if you want to reclaim control over your time. Don't just set boundaries, enforce them. People might not understand at first, but over time they'll come to respect them. And more importantly, you'll start respecting yourself more too. When you enforce boundaries, you're sending a message that your time is valuable and that you're serious about your growth. You're choosing to put yourself and your goals first. And that's a powerful shift. Remember that reclaiming wasted time isn't about being rigid. It's about being intentional. Life is not meant to be a strict schedule of productivity. There's space for rest, for joy, and for connecting with others. But intentionality means that even these moments are aligned with what you value. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, you choose to watch or read something that inspires you. Instead of going along with someone else's plans, you choose how and with whom to spend your time. The difference lies in the choice. When you're intentional, you're not just going through the motions, you're actively building a life that reflects your goals and values. Every day we're given the same 24 hours, and what we do with those hours shapes our lives. The question isn't whether you have enough time, it's whether you're using it wisely. Choosing wisdom over impulse is about mastering the art of patience and long-term thinking. It's about understanding that the most rewarding choices often require time, focus, and the ability to delay gratification. Acting impulsively might feel good in the moment, but it often leads to regrets or setbacks that could have been avoided with just a little more thought. Wisdom is knowing that there is power in pause and giving yourself the space to assess a situation before acting. It's recognizing that every action you take shapes your life, and if you want to build something meaningful, you can't be driven by fleeting emotions or whims. Impulse is powerful and can feel like the easiest route when we're looking for quick solutions. Whether it's making a decision out of anger, buying something we don't need, or saying something we later regret, impulse acts like a spark that can easily ignite chaos. Acting on impulse might offer a short-lived thrill, but that thrill often comes at the cost of stability, integrity, or even relationships. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the cool-headed guide that reminds us that real satisfaction and growth come from making decisions that align with our deeper goals. While it might not be as instantly gratifying, wisdom is what helps us build a life that's stable, fulfilling, and true to who we are. Think of wisdom as the ability to step back from the moment, to look at the bigger picture, and to ask yourself if what you're about to do supports the person you're trying to become. Wisdom requires foresight. It asks you to imagine the consequences of your actions and to weigh whether they align with the life you want. This isn't always easy, especially in a world that encourages instant rewards and quick fixes. Social media ads and even some of the people around us push us toward impulsive behavior, convincing us that we need to act now or risk missing out. But wisdom asks us to slow down, to resist the pressure, and to choose what's right over what's convenient. Wisdom also involves choosing your battles. Not everything needs a reaction, and not every situation deserves your energy. When you act on impulse, you're often acting out of emotion rather than reason, reacting to whatever's in front of you without considering whether it's even worth your time. But when you choose wisdom, you're selective. You ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this going to help me grow, or is it just going to drain me? It's about deciding where to invest your energy and when to simply let things go. Choosing not to react to every little thing isn't weakness, it's a sign of inner strength and self-respect. It's saying, I know who I am and what I stand for, and I won't waste my time on things that don't matter. Another key aspect of choosing wisdom over impulse is learning from past experiences. Wisdom isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop over time, often through mistakes. Every time you've acted impulsively and felt regret, you were given a lesson. The question is, are you learning from those lessons, or are you repeating the same behaviors? If you want to build wisdom, you need to be willing to reflect on your past actions and recognize where you could have made better choices. Reflection allows you to grow, to understand what triggers your impulses, and to develop strategies to handle those triggers more effectively in the future. One way to cultivate wisdom is through discipline. Discipline is what gives you the strength to resist impulse, to say no when every part of you wants to say yes to something you know isn't good for you. Discipline helps you stay focused on your long-term goals, even when distractions are all around you. It's not about denying yourself or living a life without joy. It's about aligning your actions with your values. Discipline is choosing to go to the gym even when you don't feel like it, to work on your goals instead of wasting time, or to save money instead of spending it on something you don't really need. Each disciplined choice you make builds your inner strength and fortifies your commitment to your future. Another tool in choosing wisdom over impulse is developing emotional awareness. Emotions are powerful, and they're often the driving force behind impulsive actions. But when you're aware of your emotions, when you can recognize them without being controlled by them, you're better equipped to make wise decisions. Emotional awareness is about pausing when you feel that rush of anger, sadness, or excitement and asking yourself, is this emotion leading me in the right direction, or am I reacting out of habit? By becoming aware of your emotional triggers, you can create a buffer between feeling and action, giving you the chance to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Choosing wisdom over impulse means building a life that reflects your deepest values, your highest goals, and your true self. It's about recognizing that every decision you make, no matter how small, contributes to the person you're becoming. When you choose wisdom, you're investing in a future that aligns with your vision for yourself. You're making decisions that will stand the test of time, decisions that you can look back on with pride. Wisdom is the foundation of a life well lived, a life built on integrity, patience, and a clear sense of purpose. And while it may take longer to see the rewards of wise choices, those rewards are lasting and deeply fulfilling, far beyond what any impulsive action could ever offer. Identifying the influences around you is one of the most powerful steps toward taking control of your life and aligning it with your goals. Whether you realize it or not, your thoughts, actions, and ultimately your decisions are shaped by the people, environments, and media that surround you. From family and friends to coworkers, mentors, and even social media feeds, each influence plays a role in shaping your mindset and the way you see the world. Some influences are positive, they challenge you, inspire growth, and push you toward your goals. But others can hold you back, trapping you in cycles of negativity, complacency, or even self-doubt. Learning to identify which influences serve you and which don't is a fundamental part of self-awareness and personal growth. The people closest to you, your inner circle, have an enormous impact on your life. Studies have shown that we tend to adopt the habits, attitudes, and even mindsets of those we spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who have ambition, who work hard, who uplift others, and who are constantly looking to improve, that energy is contagious. It inspires you to do the same. However, if your circle includes people who are negative, who complain without seeking solutions, or who discourage you from pursuing your goals, that energy is equally contagious. It's like having a heavy weight around your neck, pulling you down and holding you back from reaching your potential. Choosing who you allow in your circle is crucial because each interaction either adds to or takes away from your energy and motivation. Take a moment to assess your relationships. Ask yourself who are the people that energize you, that make you feel capable, and that celebrate your achievements. And on the flip side, who are the people that leave you feeling drained, doubtful, or anxious? It may be a difficult realization, but sometimes the people we care about most are the very ones influencing us negatively. This doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life completely, but it does mean you need to set boundaries to protect your mental and emotional health. Setting boundaries is key when dealing with influences that don't serve you. If certain friends or family members are constantly negative or dismissive of your goals, limit the time you spend with them or steer conversations away from topics that invite criticism. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They allow you to maintain relationships without sacrificing your well-being or allowing negativity to seep into your mindset. Boundaries help you protect the goals and aspirations you're working toward by giving you the space to focus on what truly matters. Your environment itself has a significant influence on your mindset and productivity. Your surroundings can either be a space for growth and focus or a place filled with distractions and clutter that slows you down. Think about where you spend most of your time, whether it's your home, your workspace, or even the places you go to unwind. Do these places make you feel energized, organized, and clear-minded, or do they add to a sense of chaos and stress? Sometimes simply decluttering your space or creating a dedicated area for focusing on your goals can shift your mindset significantly. Your environment should reflect your ambitions. If you're serious about your goals, create an environment that supports them. Another major influence is the content you consume daily. In today's digital age, we're constantly exposed to news, social media, and entertainment that shape how we see ourselves in the world. Scrolling through your feed, watching certain shows, or reading particular articles may seem harmless, but each piece of content leaves an impression. If you're constantly consuming content that promotes negativity, fear, or superficial values, that energy will likely show up in your own thoughts and actions. Choose content that aligns with your values and uplifts you. Follow creators who inspire you, read books that challenge you, and listen to podcasts that educate you. Be selective about what you allow into your mental space, as these choices influence how you approach your own life. One of the best ways to cultivate positive influences is to seek out mentors and role models. These can be people you know personally or figures you admire from a distance. Mentors and role models provide a roadmap of what's possible. They offer lessons from their own journeys and demonstrate qualities you want to develop. When you have someone to look up to, it's easier to stay focused on your path and make wise decisions. Find people who have achieved what you aspire to, who embody the values you hold dear, and who are genuinely invested in seeing others succeed. Spend time around people who challenge you to think bigger, to push harder, and to aim higher. Identifying the influences in your life is about taking ownership of the energy you allow into your world. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in who and what you surround yourself with, and understanding that these choices shape your actions, your mindset, and your ability to reach your goals. Personal growth isn't just about what you do, it's about the environments and influences you choose to keep. It's easy to overlook these influences and go through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever energy surrounds you. But true growth requires intentionality. It requires the courage to set boundaries, the wisdom to seek out positive influences, and the clarity to remove the influences that don't serve you. When you consciously choose who or what influences you, you empower yourself to create a life that aligns with your deepest goals and values. You're no longer a passive participant reacting to external forces, but an active creator of your own reality. By surrounding yourself with positive influences, setting healthy boundaries, and maintaining an environment that supports your vision, you set yourself up for success. You give yourself the foundation to grow, to reach new heights, and to become the person you're truly meant to be. Learning from past mistakes is one of the most effective ways to grow and make wiser choices in the future. Mistakes are often seen as setbacks, but they can actually be some of the most powerful teachers if we take the time to reflect on them. When we make a mistake, it's easy to dwell on the negative, to feel regret, or to beat ourselves up over what we could have done differently. But each mistake is an opportunity, a chance to gain insight, adjust our approach, and avoid similar pitfalls in the future. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing mistakes as failures to viewing them as stepping stones that lead to self-awareness, resilience, and better decision-making. The first step in learning from a mistake is recognizing it for what it is. This requires honesty and humility. Sometimes pride or denial can make it difficult to admit when we've made a poor choice. We may try to justify our actions, shift the blame, or simply ignore the mistake altogether. But real growth begins with the willingness to own up to our actions, to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I made a mistake, and there's something here I can learn. Owning your mistakes doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It shows that you're committed to learning and improving rather than pretending to be flawless. Once you've recognized and acknowledged your mistake, the next step is reflection. Reflection means looking back and examining what led to the mistake, the thought processes and emotions that influence your decisions, and the consequences that follow. Reflection is like rewinding a movie and studying each scene carefully, trying to understand how everything unfolded the way it did. Were you acting out of impulse? Were you influenced by external pressures? Did you overlook certain details, or were you perhaps overconfident in your approach? Reflection helps you uncover the underlying patterns that might have contributed to the mistake. It requires patience and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths, but it's essential for genuine learning and self-improvement. It's important to focus not just on what went wrong, but also on what you might do differently next time. Every mistake has a lesson, and the goal is to use that lesson to create a plan for future actions. For example, if you made a financial mistake like overspending on something you didn't need, the lesson might be about setting a budget, understanding your needs versus wants, or practicing patience before making a purchase. By identifying the lesson and thinking about how you can apply it moving forward, you turn a negative experience into a tool for personal growth. You equip yourself with strategies to prevent similar errors in the future, making you more prepared and intentional in your decisions. Another important aspect of learning from mistakes is letting go of guilt and self-blame. It's natural to feel disappointed or even embarrassed after making a mistake, but holding on to these feelings can be counterproductive. Guilt keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the mistake over and over again without moving forward. Remember, the goal isn't to punish yourself, it's to learn. Forgive yourself for the error, acknowledge that you're human, and give yourself permission to grow from the experience. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring the mistake, it means accepting it as part of your journey and using it as motivation to become better. Sometimes learning from a mistake requires seeking feedback from others. This could mean talking to a friend, a mentor, or someone you trust who can offer a different perspective. Often, others can see things we might have missed, pointing out patterns, blind spots, or possible solutions that weren't obvious to us. Seeking feedback shows that you're open to learning and willing to make adjustments.